All right, so we're going to be working on section 0.2. So we're reviewing difference of two squares and the GCF. So we're going to start off with the difference of two squares first. Um, so the difference of two squares is based on a formula. Okay, so what we're going to use is a formula that looks like this: the difference of two squares. And again, this is a review, so this shouldn't be brand new. But just in case you didn't remember, it serves as a good reminder. Basically, what you're supposed to do is they're going to give you an equation, okay, something that maybe resembles a squared minus a b squared. So what you want to try to do is you want to try to rewrite it so that it looks like this: something squared minus something squared. Like these have to be equal to each other. Okay? Once you figure out what those things in the parentheses are, you're just going to write them out as factors. A minus B, A plus, okay? Or A plus B, A minus B. It doesn't matter. Either way works just fine. Okay? Whatever you prefer. I always like minus plus. Some people prefer plus minus. It makes no difference. Okay? So this is the formula we're going to be using. They're going to give us a problem. We're going to try to rewrite it in a way that kind of fits what we're given, and then we're going to write it out as a factor. So just to show you a couple of these things, let's try out right here example number one. We're just going to factor. Try part A, right? So we'll try something like this: m squared minus 16. So again, this is the first part, right? They give you the formula. So what I have to do is try to figure out how to write it in a parenthesis form. Something squared is the same as m squared, and something squared is the same as 16. So we can do the number first. That's how we usually write. Something squared is 16. Well, that something is a 4, right? Because 4 squared is 16. Okay? Now, what squared is m squared? Well, that's supposed to be simple too. It's just m. So then my whole answer just basically is written as m minus 4, m plus, and that's it. This is all you need to do for okay? So m minus 4, m plus 4, we're done. So difference of two squares are supposed to be simple. Sometimes they're a little tougher than others, but nothing too terrible. So I'm going to show you a couple more of these, and then we'll move on to the GCF stuff. Um, but if I want you to factor something like this, now this one is a little tricky. Okay, so I'm gonna tell you right now, don't write down what I'm about to do because what I'm about to do is not going to be right. I have to do something first. Okay, my job. So again, don't write this down. Okay, you can write down the problem, just don't write down what I'm about to do. So you're supposed to, let me change the color here, rewrite it as two parentheses squared, right? But what squared is 20? Like nothing, right? Like I know 2 squared is 4, 3 squared is 9, 4 squared is 16, 5 squared is 25, okay? But nothing squared is 20. So that's a bad thing. And what squared gives me 5, right? Like nothing squared gives me 5. It's like a normal number, okay? So that's kind of like a red flag. Like, okay, that's not going to work. So what we have to do is ask ourselves, well, is there something that I can take out from both of these? Well, I know 5 and 20 both can be divided by 5, so I'm going to take a 5 out. And that's going to leave me with x squared minus 4. Okay? Now, focus just on this part right there. The 5 is important. It's going to be part of my answer. Okay? But just focus on, oops, I highlighted the wrong focus on the little squiggly line portion right now. So, for just the squiggly line portion, What squared is 4? 2, right? And what squared is x squared? Just x. So this would be x minus 2, x plus 2, but don't forget the 5 in the front, right? That 5 has to drop down. So this would be your answer. So it's still easy to do. There's just one little extra step you may have to do, which is taking out that 5. Okay? So that's going to be the difference of two squares. Okay? So sometimes you can do it really easily, okay, and sometimes it's a little bit tougher. There's one problem like in your homework that looks like this, so let me just kind of show it to you guys. So we'll get that homework problem out of the way for you as well. But there's a problem like this in your homework, like n actually, n squared minus 9. So something squared minus something squared. So what squared is 9? 3. What squared is 16? Not 8, but I know what you think. 4, right? And what squared is n squared? Just 10. So this answer would just be 4n minus 3, 4n plus 2. So this was a little different, but it's still the same idea. What squared is the left side? What squared is the right side? Write them out, and then use the formula to get to the point where you can write out every expanded side. Okay? So the first 6 problems you guys are going to be doing are going to be like this. Okay? Just separating stuff. And then after that, the rest of them are just going to be greatest common factor. So they're going to look a little bit like this. Let me just put this right here. So GCF, which we call the greatest common factor. Okay? This is just factor out what they have in common. That's it. So factor out what they have in common. That can be numbers, that can be letters, it can be anything. Okay? So we'll do 2 of these and then we're done. So be example number 2. So we're just looking for things that they have in common. Again, these are going to be some homework problems, so this should be a Q plus 18x plus 12. So always ask yourself, do they have letters in common? Always go with the variables. So do they have any letters in common that they all have? No, right? Like 2 of them have x's, but the 12 doesn't. So they don't share letters. Do they have numbers that they share? A 12 and 18 and 12. What number divides all 3? Like a 2 does, right? A 2 divides 12, 18, and 12. So does a 3, right? A 3 does. It's called the greatest common factor because they want us to find the biggest number that can divide. What's the biggest number that can divide 12, 18, and the other 12? A 6. The 6 is the biggest number that we can find that can divide all 3. So I'm going to take the 6 out. I couldn't take out any letters. So all I got to do is just rewrite this. So 12 divided by 6, that's 2x cubed, plus 18 divided by 6, that's 3x, plus 12 divided by 6, that's 2, and there's your answer. Okay? You're not having to do anything else. You're just taking out what they have in common. Again, this is a homework problem. We'll do one more, and then we're done. Again, another homework problem. I'm trying not to waste your time today here. Because again, these are reviews. This isn't like brand new content that you guys haven't seen before. So I'm not really trying to take too much time going over it. Because I'm hoping it's kind of clicking again, right? The gears, the brains are now starting to work. Like, yep, I remember doing it. So for this next one, that's going to actually be your very last problem on your homework. Do they have letters in common? All 3 terms, do they all have the same letter? Yeah, how many do they have in common? 1, 2, 3, or 4? Just 1, right? Yes, the very last one has 4 of them, but in common they have 1. So I'm going to put a B out here. And then do they have a number that can divide all three? A 2. So we'll take out a 2. So if I take out a 2B, what happens to the first 2B? It becomes a what? Not a 0, but kind of close. It's a 1. It becomes a placeholder, right? Whenever because what we're doing is we're saying 2B divided by 2B. So it all cancels out, which is the 1, right? Then the next one, 10 divided by 2, that's 5. B squared divided by B, that's B to the first. And then 16 divided by 2, that's 8. And B to the fourth divided by B, that's B cubed. And that's it. That's all you guys have. So today's homework, a little bit tough right this, and well, I don't know, I guess it depends. If you like X method, then this will be a little tough. But if you prefer this stuff, then this might be. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop right here. Short review. I'll give you guys the homework, try to get it done here. Once you're done, go ahead and grab your phone. Just show me, okay?